What's up, guys, gals? This is Griever back here, bringing you guys Ayakashi Triangle, Chapter 28. And, you know, gotta say, I know some of you didn't like my last chapter review for Chapter 27, right? Because I felt like, once again, we're doing this Villain of the Week stuff way too much. We need some new developments. We need some new plot. I don't know who's watching these reviews. They don't do very well. But I gotta tell you right now, somebody must have. Somebody must have heard my prayers. Because here, development, Garaku, new plot line. Let's fucking go. Because this really did handle that quite well. Like, would you guys not agree? Basically, this chapter goes on to say Matsuri and Suzu end up going to this house, sort of like a Grudge house or the haunted house sort of idea. No, I'm not going to put up any pictures of the Grudge because I don't even like searching that shit on Google. That shit scares me. But that's the sort of idea going on here, that an Ayakashi or a demon spirit, what have you, has occupied the house. And so now Ayakashi can't get in. Garaku is said to have set this all up because the moment Suzu and Matsuri and Shirogane go in, the Ayakashi throws Shirogane out. Of course, Shirogane, with very little power right now, can't resist that, and boom, is thrown into the house. Garaku even mentions, I knew you would get kicked out. The Ayakashi in the house is only interested in humans entering. Humans can enter, but other Ayakashi cannot, and that's why Garaku put in a request for an exercising thing with the Ninja Association, hoping that Suzu and, of course, Matsuri would be the ones in there. Now, this becomes a very classic, it looks like sort of the Shaman King from the 90s sort of house. Like, you got the inn, and you got the TV on top of the thing. It's an old tube TV with the rabbit ears. You got the cushion on the floor, the low eave Japanese table, all that stuff. And they get taken over almost right away. They become almost possessed. They have their own mind and memory, but they can't help their actions and what they're saying, because Matsuri all of a sudden, let's watch some TV. And it's like, well, I didn't mean to say that. And it's like, yeah, that's a great idea. Wait, what? I shouldn't be saying that either. And they're watching this. They're reliving an elderly couple's memories. We have Matsuri, of course, being the... I would take it to be the man sort of idea still, even though he's currently in a woman's body. They're laughing at TV that's not on. They recognize it. They're going through, like, playing Chinese checkers or something like that. It doesn't look like Chinese checkers. It looks like another game. I'm not too familiar with that one. And they're also playing, like, she's bringing drinks, he's reading the newspaper, blah, 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 doing all these memories and stuff, right? They're playing music, they're listening to, and just being a happy couple. And they can't understand, why are they so happy? And they're so comfortable with each other. Shirogane and Garaku can see this all transpiring, but they realize they can't interfere, they can't do anything about it. And even though they both recognize in their memories, like, why are we so happy though? This might be a jutsu, but being together like this makes us so happy. It's, and we could stay in this world forever. We could just be happy, forget everything else. And you know what? That is such a tempting thing. You would have to understand, this is not delved too deep into in this chapter, but it's a very real world application where if you were given the choice, a lot of people have to fight against this. This is done in manga and fiction a lot, where it's sort of like the idea of a false happiness, right? Do you want to live a lie just to make yourself happy? Sort of idea. And it's brought up here. It's not fundamentally questioned on a deep level, but we can still see the implications of what it's trying to tell us. And it'd be a very difficult thing to break out of a jutsu like that, because why would you want to? Where's your desire to do so? If I was trapped in a jutsu where I had a good drink in hand, I had my wife next to me, a couple of future kids running around sort of idea, we had a roof over our heads, good food on the table and stuff. I mean, that's all I really want in life. I'm a modest guy at the end of the day like that. That's all I really want. And so if I was trapped in a jutsu that had all that, what's missing from that dream, right? If you're living your dream, why would you ever want to wake up? So it's definitely, I can't believe we went from, okay, seriously, let's start some plot, let's start some stuff, this is superficial, it's one-dimensional at best, The character designs are cool. I like the story, but we need a real story. We need some sustenance. Let's go. And there are two major parts to this chapter that give us that right after I gave a negative review to the previous chapter. Finally, after 27 chapters, it was like, okay, yeah, but we need a real storyline. Let's go. I've been waiting too long. And then they give us this. And this is a really good chapter because it already gives us that. So, and that means a lot. Maybe it's because I'm older or something, so maybe I resonate with it more. You guys can let me know. Am I reading too deep into that? What have you. But then we get development of Suzu's character. There's, right when they're about to kiss and just give into the jutsu, a young version of Suzu. It looks like Suzu when she was a young kid. She had longer hair, sort of idea. At first I was like, is this the Ayakashi? Is this the spirit? But this appears to be Suzu as a younger child. She's got like sort of a different outfit on and stuff like that. But she did have long hair back then. Now, she says no and wakes Suzu out of this dream and says, you can't accept this. This is a false happiness. A poor Ayakashi is manipulating you into indulging in its own memories. This isn't the real Matsuri. But right now, you're in a position where you can't do anything about it. And the little girl smiles. And little girls are creepy. Amityville Horror, The Grudge, the fucking 13 Identity, or whatever that movie was called. Little kids are creepy. Okay? Little kids are goddamn creepy. They can be. You put a little kid in a horror movie, it's one of the most terrifying things. But yeah, so she smiles, it's creepy, and says, I guess to show it's how it's done. And then that's when Shirogane doesn't even know what's going on. And Suzu actually becomes the adult version of herself, like as a little kid. Her hair grows long again. It becomes the same length. Her school uniform even changes. It seems like, does it actually? No, sorry, I was wrong about that. The school uniform doesn't change to match the one from her presence, but her hair does grow longer. And she becomes the adult version of this spirit inside of her, or this second personality, whatever it is. Shirogane and even Garaku is shocked. Shock dies on Garaku. That means it's real. That means it's freaky. And they don't even know what it is. That's when Matsuri sort of wakes up from this jutsu as well and says she can sense the memories from the Ayakashi's energy. She brings the Ayakashi straight down to her and says that this Ayakashi basically lived with an elderly couple for years, or not even an elderly couple. It's sort of implied that this was a young couple's home, lived with them for decades. They got old, they loved each other, blah, blah, blah. The classic, you gotta love the grandparents that stay together sort of mentality, who still love each other to their dying breath. And then lived with them for decades. They ended up dying, and now the Ayakashi doesn't want to let go. He just wants to see them again. And we see that, and Suzu recognizes this. So this presence doesn't necessarily seem to be evil, but seems to be able to boom, 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 understand everything right away, and draws out and creates a false... It's sort of weird here, because that's why the Ayakashi wanted different people in the house and only humans, because humans would be able to be manipulated like we saw Suzu and Matsuri, and the Ayakashi could relive the days where it's spent enjoying watching this happy couple in love for decades, right? So Suzu, this new Suzu, long-haired Suzu, manages to create, according to Garaku, create a couple's appearance from the Ayakashi's memories using Haku. So once again, is that a bit of a false happiness? Not really, but it's giving a spirit in death peace of mind, right? And that's the intention here. Giving false happiness to living beings is a little different if they're just stuck in a loop. But the Ayakashi needed to learn to let go. You wanted to see them one more time. She made that happen, even if it's only for a moment. And then the Ayakashi was able to pass on as well. And that's actually, it's very touching. It's very sad. We meet this Ayakashi for 5 seconds, one chapter. And I resonate with that. I feel that this was an excellent chapter. 10 out of 10 in all honesty. It had everything that was missing from the previous 5 or 6 chapters. It really did. It had character development and storyline and plot with the Suzu thing, but it also had an emotional impact. that I felt that sometimes with this Villain of the Week stuff was sort of missing, because everything seemed to be resolved by the end of each chapter. Not saying that this wasn't resolved, and it was, but it was done in a very well-paced way. I just really enjoyed this. I hope you guys did too. Shirogane also notices the same idea. It's purified because the Ayakashi got its wish. Saw the couple one last time. And Garaku says, use Haku to recreate. Now, Shirogane realized that Garaku must have known about this thing and said, you knew exactly what kind of Ayakashi was here and you planned this. You knew something about this. Now, this is where Matsuri says, Suzu, the long-haired Suzu says, thanks, Matsuri. Because of you, I was able to become Suzu Kanade. And Matsuri says, who are you? And it's long-haired old Suzu, but she seems to be possessed or something. It's very strange. Now the hair all of a sudden fades away in flames. Suzu is back to her normal self, and it's a comedic moment at the end where she's worried about her tiramisu. So that's pretty much the end of the chapter. Now, once again, I found so ironically that I would finally acknowledge the issue with Ayakashi Triangle. A lot of people dropped it earlier than I did, because they complained about the same issues that I brought up in Chapter 27's review. And I got some hate on that, but guys, you got to give honesty, right? I love Bleach, for example. Probably one of my favorite mangas of all time. There were bad chapters of Bleach. Let's just straight up. There were some bad chapters. There were some bad months of Bleach. So you have to be able to acknowledge that. No matter how much of a hardcore fan you are, you can't be completely biased and say that every single chapter of Bleach, Dragon Ball Z, and One Piece is 10 out of 10. Because it's not. Some storylines are stupid. Some developments are stupid. Some pacing is bad. And you need to be able to acknowledge that. And here with Ayakashi Triangle, we were starting to get into a slump. But I feel like this chapter came at the exact right time that we needed. We needed it to happen by chapter 30, which is what I said before. And here, chapter 28, a little early, but that's not a bad thing. We needed this development. We needed this, okay, who's this mysterious presence? Why does she look like long-haired, like young child Suzu? Why does she do this? And what did she mean by become Suzu Kanade and all this stuff? What does Garaku know about it? Shirogane seems suspicious. There's a bunch there, plus an emotional storyline to boot. This was a great chapter for Ayakashi Triangle. 28 chapters in, we've had some weak ones, but this was a great one. But what do you guys think of the chapter? Let me know down in the comment section down below. This has been Griever. Like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to drink responsibly as always, and we'll see you guys back here next time. Peace out.